Sponge and gsk8 both in losers bracket. It's crazy.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Zelda Speedruns. We are back with more of the Ocarina of Time Randomizer Season 6 tournament. Today is loser bracket round 2 with gsk8 and Sponge. So I will hand it over to our commentators today, Yoshi and Ginger Sunny. Take it away, guys.
Hey!
Hello?
Yo, what is up, Yoshi? What is up, everybody?
I'm big excited for this one.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
Wild.
It was only
Wild that they
scheduled
are both in
quite
losers.
recently. Yes, it's pretty crazy, but here we are. So looking at this, obviously Sponge needs no introduction, and I've got to call him gsk8, even though I'm sure it's
Yeah,
gsk8,
same.
just because it's easier. So hopefully they don't hate me for that. Total races. I mean, Sponge has had 509 races, which is about as experienced as it gets. And we've actually faced each other 35 times, which is quite surprising, but only once in a 1v1. And,
Yeah, so I've been putting together like a little stat sheet
Nice.
for previous events and tournaments and stuff. gsk8 has basically played nothing but the major tournaments.
I noticed that actually. I was looking at his race time, and it was like
Yeah.
literally just tournament races, and that's basically it.
The occasional weekly or things like that, but as far as tournaments go, it's just the major tournaments. Has a 10-6 record across them, which is incredible. 10-6 is a really good record. Sponge has a 29-12 record in major tournaments, including in season 5, 1 win over gsk8.
That's correct. That was the only time they met as well.
Is a top 6 match. But gsk8 finished joint 5th there, Sponge taking 2nd. So it was a high stakes match. Another high stakes match in this one, losers bracket again. A little earlier in the bracket, but
Yeah, I mean, both these runners will probably be thinking that they shouldn't be in this losers bracket, but it is what it is. I think Sponge's last race basically lost by like a minute and a half to get into the losers bracket in the first round. So
yeah, it was definitely there were some interesting decisions that I'm sure even Alex was the person who won, and Alex afterwards, when asked why he did the thing he did, was like, "Oh, I forgot that was an option." So one of those ones of rando being rando sometimes, but
it is. Yeah, so I imagine Sponge was a little bit salty after that, but
living up to the name, but carrying it back through now, and just has to make a losers run through a stacked losers bracket.
it really is.
Same half of the losers bracket as Marco, for one.
Marco in losers bracket again. There's so many big names that it blows my mind. But Rando is Rando. You've got this top level, consistently top level runners, and having to duke it out in losers bracket. It shows for what level of quality we have with the competition. So it looks like we're going to start with the Forest Medallion, which is nice. A free song straight away. We start with Epona as well, so we've got a horse. And we are off. Sponge dressed in blue. gsk8 with just the standard green. Spirit Temple to Morpher. Song of Time on Burning Cack. Spirit Temple to Morpher again. And Diving is dead. Ooh, Spirit Temple to Morpher. That's not what you want to see early on, generally.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, ZL.
He didn't pick up the song.
No, he's just decided to just go rush Hyrule Fields, presumably straight off to Lon Lon. Gonna get some cash first. And we've got the medallions now. Which, looking at it, is...
So very notably, I did see a Dodongo's Cavern in there. That
Yeah.
one's always an interesting one in terms of the hints. The best odds of getting a double dungeon hint with that.
We've got Stone Spirit Temple as well, so that'll be fun for the path to Morpher. Are we in go mode yet? That would be incredible, but no.
Close, maybe? they're only missing all of their items. Like, other than that,
we're
they're
good to
basically
go.
there. Yeah.
Not a terrible medallion layout though. Apart from
No.
Stone Spirit. Stone
Massive
clerics.
divergence already as well. Like this split between child and adult here. Both plays obviously are the kind of thing you're going to do. It's not like, one of them is going to get to skip the play the other one is currently doing. But if, for example, gsk8 finds a Kakiri sword here, or Sponge finds explosives to be able to do Dodongo's Cavern as adult, this is the kind of split that can make or break a race. Even if, neither of them is particularly a right or wrong play here.
That's right, yeah. So, as you say, order of items. So, this child section might feel pretty bad if Kakiri Sword is just available in Sphere 0 adult checks. That looks like Saria's song, so we're getting all the child songs. SFM to Bongo Bongo.
Let's probably assume that'll be
Assume that's
their
the
Nocturne.
song,
But...
yeah. But we'll see. Could be perhaps Magic or something, bomb locked, perhaps. But
at least seeing storms would be interesting. Like, song is fine, but a song that leads to something, not just. Oh,
and that's a bomb bag.
So if you find early explosives in your child section,
Very nice.
gsk8 not punished though, picking up some bombs.
The bomb shoes. Just
Will be able
sat
to
there.
wrap up Dongo's Cavern in this adult section still.
And serenades. So not that useful, but it's our first warp song anyway, which is still nice to get. But yeah, so it's a 10-pack of chews as well, so it's actually pretty useful. So not punished at all for not going child first.
I was talking to a couple of runners the other day about this. Is like, how many bomb chews are you comfortable with? Like, at what point do you stop with chests? And pretty much the universal opinion is that if you have 15, it's kind of that shaky area where it depends on the dungeon.
Yeah.
And like, if you ever find a 20-pack, you're set. That's it.
Dotso in chat saying he's comfortable with 50, and yeah, 50 is best for sure.
Or just 29, and then 29 again, and then 29 again.
It's like, because it is possible to misclick and fire them without realizing, and then you're like, no, I've only got 9 left. Nothing in the box, so we're going to go for our first Dampe race. The Sponge is going to do the same checks I imagine that gsk8 has done. Going to just rush to CAC now that we're back as adult.
Yeah, so we are seeing
But with
interesting
bombs.
from Sponge here. Is this something I know a few people have talked about, is doing the Lon Lon Ranch song, and then just go adult. Not bothering with Sacred Forest Meadow, Lost Woods, any of that, because it's a lot of very slow checks, and there's a lot of things you can find that improve that later on, Kakiri Sword being the most obvious.
Yeah, I think it's a good play actually. I think it makes complete sense. It's interesting watching the development of the meta this season. I'm a fan of like the meta, and so season 4 I think was Valley Lake. Oh, but hang on a minute.
I mean, talking of the meta, I guess the big thing here then would be to see if
Magic.
Dampe paying out.
Okay, Triss would be punished. Oh, baseball! What up? So there's Milk and Magic.
But yeah, I guess the interesting thing in terms of the metagaming at the moment and the kind of the new routing decisions is, do either of them go to Zora's River? Adult River is the meta play at the moment. That's the kind of the interesting meta point.
A lot of checks, a lot of hints, and pretty easily accessible. And then gives you some options if you pick up a scale or ZL. I've got some more options as well. But yeah, that Ruto's there. It's pretty big. So sort of saying rush ice. We've got the bottle, so we can. So we can't do Kings or Escape in these rule sets. And there's Requiem, so that's good. That might be useful for us because we have got the Spirit Temple as path to Morpher, I think it was. No, yeah, it was Morpher. And we're going to play it straight away. Get a free song. Check the arch. Hopefully, see what we get.
Yeah, get some good information here, and also there's a decent shot of getting another song into a song.
Yeah, get a nice little song chain going. I had no idea what was on that hand, but I don't think it was a big chest. So,
yeah, I couldn't see anything, so I assume that means small.
That's Bolero, so we can do a little song chain if we want to see what we get at the crater. It isn't Nocturne though, so and that's just a blue. Frogs 2 is dead, so none of those child songs are going to be useful for that. I haven't seen a Frogs 2 not being dead for a very long time.
There were a couple.
Riley's saying that was a scale or a sklay. Could be a sklay. In which case, they might need to come back. Silver sklay.
gsk8 save scumming the bomb tube here. Get this fairy fountain and then just reset it back. Pick up that bomb tube again.
Yep. If it's not worth it. And this early ZL is great because it means we can early ZL explosives. We can get all these fairy fountains out of the way. It's Sponge's turn to see if he can escape being trolled by Dumpe and pick up his magic. Everyone in chat disputing the volume, trying to use the volume commands.
Yeah, that one is thankfully mod only.
It's not crowd control for volume, thankfully.
That was nothing in the wall there. Oh, we do get storms here, so...
Oh, okay, interesting.
All the more likely that Sacred Forest Meadow just has Nocturne.
S7 crowd control. I'm not sure too many would agree to enter. You might get an entry of like 4 people. Early look at Fire Temple here from gsk8 and see if we get anything early that's useful.
Yeah, surprising to see this early dip, but knowing if it's locked early could be nice. That's not what you wanted to see, though.
No.
That's kind of... Do you keep going? Do you stop?
And yeah, I noticed someone in chat saying, oh, they might want to volunteer and commentate. Absolutely. I saw someone put the volunteer application link in the chat. So here's Green Vortex. I see you. Have a look at that and apply. Absolutely. We're always looking for new people to help out at CSR. There's a lot of channel points on the line here for this prediction, I just saw.
I'm amazed that people still have their channel points, like, through all of mine immediately.
I've got like 82,000 and I'm just going to spend it. Going for the odds. Alright, so just not deciding to carry on in fire, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm really surprised gsk8 hasn't gone up to Dodongo's Cavern already with those chews, but opting to go child here instead, it looks like.
Interesting. I think this is their first child that they went straight to adult and have been adult ever since. So they're going to do that, and Sponge is going to do what you suggested gsk8 should do, which is have a look at Dodongo's Cavern. It's a medallion. We've got explosives.
A peek through the wall on the way in lets you see the chest in the Death Mountain Trail wall further up. So just able to get a little glance at that one, figure out if it's worth going back up afterwards.
So gsk8 is going to go straight to Child Spirit.
I guess I should clarify. The reason I thought gsk8 in particular was going to do Dodongo's Cavern is that we've already seen that he's happy to save scum the bomb chews. So you can do most of the early loop, reset it all the way, and then just use 2 to open up the eyes and go in.
That's right. Yeah. Has got the chews, which I imagine is why he has decided to come here, because can do the chews and not switch. But has lost the shield, which is not going to feel great.
You can get this early information potentially on the Morpher path. If this ends up being, you know, first hook shot in Spirit, then definitely a really strong position here.
Big chest though here in DC. The bow. That's a useful item. It's an item we will need, so that's nice to find.
Yeah, it does surprisingly little on its own, but definitely one that you'll always need, always want at some point.
Right. For free locks, the reason why that works is because of the dodgy hitboxes. There's actually hitboxes off to the side, and if you blow up those, it thinks that you've hit all of them, and so you can save yourself a tiny little bit of time if you're accurate.
Yeah, essentially there are 4 hitboxes. One either side of the staircase itself, and then one either side of the wall behind the staircase. And it lowers if you hit any 2 at the same time. So you hit the 2 on the same side, I think it is, and it still counts. At least that's how it was explained to me.
Yeah, I understand how to do it, like where you have to throw it, but the actual mechanics, I'm not so clear on as to why it actually works. That's definitely an F there from gsk8. That was unintentional, I think.
Yeah.
Although maybe it was just to get their hearts back, perhaps. But I mean, it's a bit of a stretch. I think that was an F there for gsk8. Nothing else so far. Sorry.
The costly thing on gsk8's side with that death, more than obviously a death is slow, but the most notable thing is that, you know, he might have wanted to save Scum Spirit and keep that Deku Shield, keep the bomb chew that he used if none of this leads to anything. Dying there is...
Kind of messes that one up.
Yeah, you just kind of go through it and you're going to have to pay out for that shield again potentially later. Assuming, you know, he wants to go to Deku Tree at some point.
Yeah, possible. We might just find a Deku Shield. I believe there's at least 2, I think, somewhere in the wild that can be picked up, so potentially might avoid having to go buy one.
I want to say 4, but I'm really not confident on that.
Chuckle says 4 as well, so I'm going to say 4. It seems to be a lot. Whenever I play, I always get Deku Shields when I don't need them. So 2
Hylian Shields.
That's probably what I'm getting confused with.
Deku Shields.
Will Cleosis, I like that spinning a mate. That's pretty sick. So we're in Child Climb on one side and King Dodongo on the other. Very easy boss fight.
This is already very interesting routing as well, because I think there's kind of 2 or 3 different ways that people can route this game, and you said earlier about caring about the meta. I love seeing the decision making and the strategy that people employ.
Yeah.
There are certain styles that work well or work badly against others. And the best players are able to kind of switch a little bit between those different styles. Gsk8 is already very aggressive. These are the kinds of plays that some runners will just skip for an entire race.
Mm-hmm.
And you get them this early, like, they're kind of less likely to have items, and that's why people will skip them.
Mm-hmm.
But if it does have something, you
like
can be
you
in...
might see here, for example.
You've got a pretty good chance that that doesn't get picked up for a while still.
Oh, and it's for Kakiri Sword.
Oh, that is huge.
I mean, Deku is a stone, so yeah, might not be necessary, but
Oh, still having such a good dungeon for density and having it as child before going to Kokiri Forest, Lost Woods, and Sacred Forest Meadow, that's got to be big.
For sure. Could be the path. There's a spirit path. Sponges want to get the first medallion though, so that's a little bit of a start for them. But beyond, Anvo got the bow. But beyond that, I kind of like this play from gsk8. Like say, it's a play that you wouldn't usually see. Like not every runner would decide to just go Child Spirit early and do whatever they can and continue climbing as well.
Definitely helped by the path, I think, but yeah, definitely a kind of early aggression on that one, and getting the Kakiri Sword out of it might still lead to something. Probably will at this rate, but
Yeah, something in Deku, even though it's a stone.
I think the other notable thing is, you know, even if Deku leads to nothing, at some point Sponge is going to go to Spirit and is going to find some item leading to Morpher.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not in go mode at that point, it's pretty likely that Sponge will end up also doing Deku Tree. So it won't be any time lost, it's just a strong play that probably leads to something and doesn't feel bad if it doesn't.
Absolutely. I think Sponge might be following in gsk8's footsteps here. See if they decide to come back as a child. Do child climb. We got our first fishing of the day. So hopefully it won't troll too much, and we'll find out if there's anything here. Sponge gonna go on their song trail. See if they dip. Yep, still nothing there. See if they dip Fire Temple, which presumably they might.
I didn't realize that was fire arrows up there earlier. I thought it was a red rupee on Gsk8's side.
Oh, interesting. So that's fire arrows up there. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was a red rupee as well. And first PS now set up for gsk8. Didn't look like anything there under the water. Sponge going back Child, which I'm going to assume is to also do Child Spirit. Have a look. Knows it is path, but it's basically the main hint we have at the moment, apart from the SFM hint.
That is only the second one of those, right?
I think so. Oh yeah, I forget we've got storms as well, so well, it's also an option for us if we decide to do that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It looks like Sponge is going to do Child Market, presumably. Got Bombchu Bowling open to us.
It's also worth noting, depending on where Gsk8 goes from here, might be reluctant to use up some of these bomb shoes. Although Time of Day looks really good to go straight to Lon Lon from here. And then we'll pick up the bombs. We'll be able to
Yeah, well,
be
actually,
a little more liberal with those after that.
Actually, it will work out. Yeah, it's an excellent idea. Sponge grabbing some money, so we're going to see some child market checks. Goron Pot is dead. Bomb bowling, nothing so far.
And yeah, gsk8 heading up towards this remote grotto, and then we'll see if it's Lon Lon Ranch or Kokiri Forest first. But if it's towards Kokiri Forest, I expect to see some, well, either skipped checks or potentially save scumming the bomb chews, or oh, then there's the
Up
save
there
scum.
it is.
Yep.
We did find out 30's dead, so that's good news. We won't need to collect 30 skulls today. Still haven't seen any hints for 40 or 50. So there's still a chance for plenty of messing about yet when it comes to skulls. Nothing in daytime child market for Sponge.
gsk8 here at night. So Richard, another check that's just become very difficult to check at this point. Getting your time of day here without Sunsong can be an absolute nightmare now.
Yeah, you want to pass time, but you don't want to just stand around. That's slow. You can't do that. So you just have to try and root in. Oh, and it's a slingshot.
That could matter, I guess. Probably won't.
It's nice to have, but not the most important one. Not going to be able to do Bombshell Bowling, gsk8, so won't be able to pick up a replacement Deku Shield if they want, because they haven't got that bomb bag yet.
Oh, and Sponge getting into Kakariko just in time to still do chickens here. And then we'll be able to leave, wait for a couple of seconds and grab Danpei as well. Just really nice time of day on that one.
Yeah, excellent rune. Forest Temple to Volvagia. So that's another stone.
Yeah, what?
Stone path. Alright. To Volvagia. What could that be? We've got bombs available, so it can't be that. Bolero.
I mean, yeah, probably Hammer. Could be Hovers.
Could be the Hovers, yeah.
Some other chain leading to those?
Hammer on Phantom Ganon. I can see it. I can see it, soy sauce. And we are going to get a Hyrule Castle 2 hint here, which you don't usually see very often. And Sponge is going to go straight to the well, which I like. I think it's a good play. Lots of peaks you can do.
Yeah.
In the well.
I think bottom of the well, as far as like checks per minute, has probably become the best dungeon in the game at this point. It was always up there before, and now it's just even stronger.
Yeah, for sure. And we've got everything we need to full clear it as well, should it come to that. But it looks like Sponge is probably going to do the make it time of day so it's night, come back and do Danpei. And yet, Sponge not picking up the shoes, but I mean, he's a child, so he wouldn't be able to do the jump anyway, I believe.
Yeah, there is a jump you can do as child. I don't think it's worth it.
No, he's got the bomb bag and 12 bombs. It's not gonna bother.
Oh, gsk8 with the one miss there.
Yeah, it was chat was pointing out earlier that Sponge's child slingshot game was very slick, which is to be expected. I mean, this is a guy who's done, what is it, like 400 odd official races, I think it said. 509.
Yeah.
Just looked at 509 races, so must have done that thousands of times. And it's pretty professional at it by now. And gsk8 is going to go for the mask, so he's looking at the 20 chews and going, I haven't got a bomb bag. I should probably... Oh no, it was Skull Kid, which had the chews, I think.
Yeah. No, this is just, I think, an unhinted skull mask potential.
It's just preparation.
So we are getting a Dampe check here first. This one, another one that can be very difficult to get back to. For Rose, with the early magic, that could be huge.
Very nice. That can save so much time. And there's a lot of tricks and good places you can use that to save a lot of time, and I guarantee Sponge knows all of them. So
yeah, I've mentioned it a lot before, but I think Faro's Wind is probably like the single item that separates the best of the best from everyone else the most. It's just the most like almost skill intensive item because there's just so many intricate uses that people just might not even think of. At least in terms of routing. Obviously in terms of execution there's other differences elsewhere, but Faro's Wind can have some incredible routing use.
I thought Sponge had missed the flames there, but did actually
good
get them.
recovery.
It was a very good recovery because that looked like that was not going to happen, but managed to get it anyway. Wasn't any use, but you know, at least it's knowledge. gsk8's going to be very thankful in a moment when they find the bomb back. No need to keep slave scumming those chews.
Curious to see where gsk8 goes from here, though. Going over towards like Lost Woods Kokiri Forest is kind of difficult from the silo. And if you just like, none of the warp songs really help. If you just save quit, you're back in market. None of it's really good. We haven't seen Mido's house yet.
That's right. gsk8 decided to come to market and Lon, which is a good idea, but there's 4 checks right there, and that is a big chest.
I just realised that Pup Time reacted to the typo of woofs in chat.
Pop Time is incredible. It's my favourite, probably one of my favourite things on Twitch. It's just, hey, have a lot of puppy and dog emotes. It's brilliant.
I was just so confused what it was responding to, though. It just took me a while.
Mirror Shield in the well. We're going to be hoping that they don't need that, but with Spirit as a path, and only the Kokiri sword been found so far.
And so that Spirit path.
Interesting.
Someone's looking a whole lot better.
Certainly is. Mel's now saying AD for Nocturne. Oh dear. We're going to have to get to Sacred Forest Meadow pretty soon if we want to work that one out. But this is a stacked well. This is a good place so far. gsk8 going back adult. Presumably DC, like Adam says.
Yeah, no, I guess from here you can go up to Dodongo's Cavern, you can take that loop around up towards Goron City and over towards Sacred Forest Meadow and start seeing what your song there is, potentially. Go down towards Mido's house from there. We'll probably get the Ruto's letter on the way through at the very least.
That was Greg. We found Greg. Validated. Emo Soda saying they're up to 732 races of Rando, which is frankly incredible. 732.
Does that include the old SRL ones?
Meanwhile, chat spamming all the different varieties of Pup Time, which I'm here for.
Oh, more bomb juice.
Very explosive friendly seed.
Alrighty, gsk8 with the letter. Be curious to see where he goes, if it's just straight to Dodongo's cavern or up around Death Mountain crater first.
Yeah, I
Can
mean,
use those remaining bomb shoots to just stop Link the Goron very easily. Has the bombs now to do all of it and can open up a path through to the forest, but then that creates an awkward split of do you go get the song or do you do DC?
I'm just distracted by all the different types of pop time variations people are trying to find. But yeah, it's gsk8 is finally going to get into DC. It's just a small chest up there.
And I guess, yeah, since it came up in chat there, gsk8 not going to Kakiri Forest here, I think, is mostly just a question of routing. There's not really a good way to get to Kakiri Forest here. You know, going adult, you're going to want to do Dodongo's Cavern. At that point, you can go up towards the crater, over to Sacred Forest Meadow. At that point, you get another song there. And then you can kind of try to snowball that into a way to warp there as child, potentially. Or at least get closer, hopefully. I do think it's surprising that we've not seen Mido's house at all from either runner yet, though. That's a weird place to be 30-some minutes into a season.
Yeah, just easy, well, not easy, but Sphere Zero checks just sort of right there. I think the best chance was when gsk8 was in Hyrule Field, but they chose to do Lon Lon instead, which was the right move because they've now got the bomb bag, but it does mean that we've still got no idea if Mido providos today.
gsk8 with a bomb throw onto the stairs and just slightly off, only took out one side of it. So Sponge does have bomb shoes. They were above King Dodongo, I think. No, they were back at bottom of the well. Back at bottom of the well.
Only have a 5 back.
Yeah.
Which...
good enough for this, but...
yeah, I mean, realistically, it's sort of mostly what it's probably going to need it for. Got the bomb bag.
Yeah, definitely not a huge amount to worry about when you've already got the explosives available. Won't worry about the choose too much, and then he immediately blows up the crystal switch with a bomb chew at close range. Yeah, definitely does not care.
I have 5 chews, I'm gonna use them. Get them out of my inventory. Oh, missing the jump there.
Just clipping the ledge, yeah.
A little bit of time loss. Just tiny little things in execution can sort of add up, and when you're racing against someone like Sponge, so you kind of always feel a little bit bad when you make just small errors like that. Realistically, it's like, what, 10 seconds maybe? But...
so it's kind of surprising, because I'm pretty sure gsk8, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm pretty sure gsk8 has a history in OOT outside of Rando.
Yes,
so...
very much into the
yeah.
Forget what it is right now. The challenges that are going on.
Oh, the OMS, yeah.
Yeah, OMS. Yeah, that's basically what I've seen gsk8 has been focusing on their streams recently. So
definitely knows how to jump up the window as a child.
For sure. Yes, they're very skillful.
But typically, you know, somebody who, generally speaking, and this is, I think, a pretty gross simplification of things, But typically, when you have the speedrunner versus the rando player, the speedrunner will have the execution edge, and the like dedicated rando player will have the routing and logic edge. I'm not 100% sure that's the case here. I think this is a tale of like just two very different play styles.
Yes.
And you know, once you get to the top, I think a lot of the big rando players at the top could hold their own in the speedrunning side of things as well.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously,
like someone like
within
Sponge, his execution is excellent. You know, for a rando main, I guess.
Obviously, just you know, rule set dependent. There's take a couple of extra tricks to learn or things to not like habits to get out of and that kind of thing. None of this flame storage if you're glitchless.
Sponge kind of getting bodied there by the this room, the lasers.
Emos are harsh. I was playing a seed the other day actually, and was like in a call racing someone, and I said at one point, just in the call, not thinking, "Oh, I hate this room. I'm definitely taking damage here." And they were like, "Is it Iron Knuckles? Is it Stalfos?" I was like, "No, it's just BMOS. Any room with BMOS in."
Yeah, there's when they do put the BMOS in, they put them in some pretty trolly places in this game for sure. Well, that's not great. But I guess if you're gonna mess up shooting, you may as well mess it up first, and then you know.
I'm pretty sure it was that exact rupee though on the child shooting that gsk8 missed as well.
That's the one that always gets me. If I miss one, it's going to be that one. It's just one of those things sometimes. That's much better from gsk8 and just a piece of heart. Sponge's turn to do fishing and get. I think it was a piece of heart or a heart container, one of the two.
Something like that, yeah. And yeah, we will see gsk8 here go up Death Mountain again. Kind of feels bad coming out of Dodongo's cavern down into Kakariko and then having to backtrack up again. But at this point, you've got to cut your losses. You need that song. You need to start getting information on Sacred Forest Meadow. You need to get to Mido's house, Lost Woods. There's just so much up in this direction that at some point you just need to kind of, like I say, cut your losses and go, okay, I have to get there somehow. All the options are bad. I'll just take the least bad one.
Yeah, the one that's like, okay, I mean, it is a pain, but I'm here, so I might as well. It seems to be the best idea. I'm interested what Sponge is going to do here. Presumably going to set up Pierre and then do Hyrule Field. Hopefully we might actually get Kakiri Forest.
I think we're going to end up with dueling Kakiri Forests here. Different ages, so we'll see a slightly different mix of songs and checks and so on. But I imagine Sponge here is, going to go out, do these two field grottos nearby, stop by the remote grotto, and then head to Kakiri Forest and up from there. It also means we'll see a Deku Tree.
And that is our OOT hint there as well, and it's Sunsong. So that's ruined the Nocturne on OD suggestions that I saw in chat.
Yeah, probably not useful. Probably.
Unless we're very, very unlucky. Shouldn't need to do AD.
We'll, at this rate, have to dip into all of them, though. We've already gone to Spirit, got the Kakiri Sword, which kind of points you towards Deku Tree, and then we have the Forest Path Evolve, so all three probably required to some extent.
OGC is dead, and that's a second slingshot there for gsk8. Have a look at the other maze chest. It's only a small chest, so we can't do the jump to it, but it is a big chest, so... Oh, no, he is going to.
I was going to... Can you make that?
I'm not sure. Wait, maybe. Presumably you can. Just tried it, but it was have one go at it and then come back later.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that, so I don't know if it is possible, but the fact that it was one shot almost makes me think it was like maybe it's possible, I'll try it just in case.
That's what I kind of got the impression, because it's not one I've ever seen before. I didn't think you could do it, but I think you could do it from the left chest only. But
Yeah.
I think we're going just a health refill for us. But we can see Dancing Dad here.
I guess we might get dueling Goron cities as well. You mentioned Kakiri Forest and Sacred Forest Meadow, but might see a child Goron city from Sponge as well.
Yeah, I think we might. I think we might be able to clear it out at least on stream if we see the dueling.
Kind of one of these like early routing decision things I was talking to a few people about the other day is like early on in the game you want to be more thorough. You know, right now there's not a lot open. You're still missing your hook shot, your strength, these items that are integral to beating the seed. Until at least a hook shot shows up, you probably just want to be thorough. You probably still want to do everything. And it's kind of like, the way I tend to see it is that you want a thorough early game, an aggressive mid game, and then the late game is kind of scaling around what you're missing in your late game. Is it push hints? Is it wide open and you have a billion things to do? Or is it, you know, a handful of plays left? And at that point, the biggest skill is also just recognizing whether you're in the early game or whether you've moved on to the mid game and when you've moved on to the late game. Because it's not the same in every seed, you know. Sometimes early game will be 30 minutes and sometimes it will be an hour and 30 minutes.
And there's the confirmation Skull Mask is dead, so won't be seeing that today. Assuming that gsk8 finds that information. Yeah, interesting, as chat's pointing out, Sponge hasn't been to Mido, so we just skip that for now. So we still don't know what's in
Get it on the
Mido.
way out, that's fine.
I imagine so. Yeah, I don't think it's oh no, he just forgot. Graveyard to Baronade, and 40 is dead. Graveyard to Baronade.
What was the song in the graveyard?
Was it Storms? Requiem, says Chuckles.
Okay.
Interesting. Child Spirit? What did we didn't really find anything in Child Spirit. Apart from
Kakiri
key.
sword? Yeah.
Kakiri sword.
Oh,
we got
magic as well.
Magic on Dampe, that's a good one. Requiem and Magic, that probably fulfills.
So yeah, Boomerang showing up anywhere between like Spirit, Shadow and Deku is already enough. Not to mention behind other items found in those, which we're pretty sure there's at least one. There's a Path to Morpher waiting somewhere that has to be a hookshot at this point. Talking off. Yeah.
There it goes, that's a hook shot. And what else have we got? Another bow.
And then at this point, the Path to Baronade tells you absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Requiem to get your Kakiri sword, to go to Deku and get your hookshot. It's hookshot locked. That's most of the game.
Yeah. Very loaded Deku so far. Rushing Deku seems to have paid off for Sponge. We are going to get a Mido Skip, which is just playing Saria's song. Get out of the way, Mido.
On the double hookshot conversation, I think the best one I've ever seen was this is going back to like RSL season 1. one of the races leading into it. There were like 6 of us playing, and your 2 hook shots were the 2 checks in Bomb 2 Bowling. So after like 3 hours in, you find Bomb 2 Bowling, you do it, and you get your first hook shot, and then you see the second reward, and it's the other hook shot. It's just like, seriously?
Oh. Come on, game. Don't be like this. Okay, so we know Sacred Forest Meadow is definitely one of the songs. Path. Which, you know, is not really a surprise.
Can't imagine it being anything other than Nocturne at this point, but...
Nope. Hammer Rocks are dead. Oh.
And again.
Thank you, game. Just repeat that hint. Very useful.
So yeah, coming up in chat here, and I do think that's the most important thing with the information regarding Graveyard to Baronade and all of that. As we get Nocturne, as expected. The Spirit one isn't in Logic yet. The Kakiri Sword. It will take, presumably, Din's Fire. Or, I suppose it's... Okay. Spirit Logic. It requires a fire source. It can require fire arrows to get there as child. But, we know where the fire arrows are, and we have access to that. So I think that's fine.
Hey, that's our first strength.
Just in case we were worried about the strength, though. What's the other one being Mido's right now? Not quite a strength.
No, we know Big Oran's dead, so it's pretty useless. No help there from Mido today. 48-minute Mido, as Kinra says. Yeah, that's very unusual. Very unusual set of circumstances that's led to that.
And interesting that gsk8 didn't go down there from getting the adult song in Meadow.
Yeah, I got the strength. Save quit themselves back to child. The hookshot was in Deku Tree, Green Vortex. In the slingshot platform. I think it was in the slingshot chest. Or the one to the side of the slingshot chest.
Or the one above it, yeah, I think. Yeah, I guess to catch people up right now, we have a bomb bag early, Kakiri Sword and Spirit. Oh, another bomb bag early on Sponge's side here. And then, yeah, Kakiri Sword and Spirit that led to a hookshot in Deku Tree. Did have a path hint for Spirit, so both of them have gone there, got their sword. But not much in the way of warp songs, notably. This has been a big hiking seed at the moment. Lots of backtracking and...
Yeah, it's led to some very interesting pathing decisions. And quite different pathing decisions as well. From the very start, they've diverged. gsk8 going adult one first and Sponge doing a child section. And it's sort of been the same from there.
And the only information we have now that isn't anything yet is Graveyard to the Baronade. That doesn't mean much because Requiem led to the Kakiri Sword, led to Hookshot. But Forest Evolve Agia is a big one. Gotta assume it'll be Hammer or Hover Boots. Either one would almost instantly fulfill that. But...
for my skip, we have what we need to get in there and have a look.
So we will see some new checks here on Sponge's side. We've seen adult go on city already, but not child. I think it's notable as well at this point. You know, we mentioned the different routing, and gsk8 in particular has done a lot of kind of back and forth routing. Lots of run to one location and then kind of end up running back a little bit later. And
Yeah.
it's kind of showing at this point. It's kind of showing that it's been pretty costly, because the Sponge has already done bottom of the well, where gsk8 is, and also Deku Tree, which is presumably where gsk8's going next. And as far as stuff that gsk8's done that Sponge hasn't, there's just
for strength, really. And you'd imagine that that he's going to pick up that strength sooner rather than later. Darunia just a bundle of sticks for us, which is a shame. Strength 1 was one of the Deku Scrubs. I don't remember which one. In one of the grottos. I think it was Lost Woods Grotto. Chat confirming.
Yeah.
And there's gsk8 getting their drink.
Also, yeah, we do have a fire source in Logic, because the bomb bag is available and the fire arrows were seen on top of the volcano. So, yeah, the Kokiri sword is completely in Logic at this point. Which then, by extension, means the hookshot is.
Speaking of that strength, Sponge just goes and gets it immediately. Padrino, Sponge didn't forget GC Pop, because we had a hint for that, which is hinted dead, so no need to mess about with that today.
And with that, Sponge has everything to do Forest, which I assume we'll see as soon as he goes adult here, because you want to figure out what that path to Volvagia is and get...
For sure. Let's get that hammer or hovers. Either of them, very useful.
And then, of course, if you see Hammer, you can just go and beat the dungeon immediately as well.
Yeah, we know we don't need it for the hammer rocks. So literally we'll just be... Well, maybe the fairy crater, I guess. But apart from that, it's just mainly for Fire Temple. We're going to see what the child song is here at Sacred Forest Meadow. It's not going to be the Nocturne, but Sponge will one. But that's fine, can come back and get it. We can't really do anything with it at the moment anyway, without Dins. That's Minuet. So
I would be stunned to not see the Forest play then with that, for sure.
100%. I would say Forest is on the horizon for Sponge.
Interesting, Sponge heading out here. Where is...
Might just be for the hints, possibly.
Yeah. I guess with the warp songs, yeah, you're not coming back down this way anytime soon otherwise.
No. Yeah, that's Serenade. We're gonna do Budget Prelude. Yeah, gonna take the owl back to the market.
Right, both of them playing on VC, so they don't want to save quit back, even though got a decent save quit location for this. Those resets are costly.
Also gives Sponge the added bonus of being able to refill their wallet easily as well. On the way.
Oh, are we going to see a river play? I did kind of wonder about this, so...
Yeah, I think we might.
Didn't have the scale to go from Lost Woods. gsk8. Wait, is gsk8 just...
Just
yeah,
gonna...
okay.
Death Warp.
But yeah, they didn't have the scale coming out of Lost Woods, so neither of them really have gone towards River yet. And the items are good, but I think the big thing here is that the hints are surprisingly valuable now. I think the guaranteed paths, like having one per dungeon, is a big deal. In this situation, it won't be, because we know there are 2 bomb bags available. So there are only 4 dungeons with path items, and we've seen 4 different hints.
Yes. Yeah, the seed has been kind of weird routing, but at the same time, like you say, the hints we've got have been pretty strong. I do kind of like the no foolish hints that we've got in the settings.
Interesting, yeah. I like what it does to the hints. I'm definitely in the camp of like seeds tend to be a little too long, if anything.
Yes. Because you do end up visiting a lot more places.
Yeah.
The hints.
But like overall, I'm a fan.
I like it because I think it gives more variety of hints, but at the same time, like you say, because there's no guaranteed foolish, you can't just avoid somewhere. Everywhere's more likely to be at least dipped. And there's the long shot on behind Song of Storms on the river. So that's
very
big.
Yeah,
that's an interesting spot.
A really easy check to miss because you can just come here as adult and never get it, or just put off river for a long time, knowing that that's kind of one of the meta plays right now. People like doing river early.
That's big. I mean, I've seen so many runners avoid that check till casino mode and really suffer for it. So. Here's gsk8. Are they going to go Child River as well? It
looks like it. So yeah,
won't
be too costly here.
No, they're going to get the hook shot. Still haven't. There's the other forest temple to Volvaggia Hill.
Oh, wait, this isn't a river, is it? Wait, okay. I'm confused. Why? I don't understand why gsk8 went across the river and then back across afterwards. I was
a bit confusing. It was like sort of, oh, am I going river? Am I not going river? Who knows?
I feel like I just got played. I kind of assumed he was going towards Kokiri Forest again instead as a result, but...
It looks like up to 11 skulls now for gsk8. GTG to Baronade. Okay.
That one, actually pretty useful.
It's always nice to know that you have to go there, rather than just sort of dipping for the sake of it. It looks like gsk8 is absolutely going to get their hook shot, not ignoring the check, which is good news. So that would be pretty bad if gsk8 avoided that, and we want to see a good race.
That's something with the logic now. That hookshot isn't hookshot locked, is it?
Storms was just available.
So the path in the graveyard being Requiem or Magic isn't to get a hookshot.
So it's quite interesting logical implications.
Yeah. So my assumption would be that the item in the Gerudo training grounds is actually for Shadow. And then you have the magic and, say, bins or something along those lines. And the item, the boomerang, is then in Shadow Temple. That would be my assumption here.
Yeah, interesting. Also, as well, pointing out that it is happy 1 hour. So happy 1 hour, everybody. all our volunteers. Joining me is Yoshiko to talk us through this seed. Two trackers who are doing the most important bit is Mad Mark Adam and Chuckles. We're all honorary Brits today, so hooray. Shiro is our restreamer today and doing a brilliant job. I love Shiro on anything that they do, so always great to see her. I'm pretty sure I named everyone, but if I forgot someone, please point out. But I think that's all of us on the crew this evening.
And you, I guess, as well. Yeah, you're doing a great job here
problem.
as well. Yeah. And of course, do not forget to follow the runners putting on already spectacular race. I think this has been just so kind of. It's incredible because they're both such strong runners within the community, and yet, you know, we've already seen just how wildly different two of the top players in the bracket can play. The game is a long way from being solved, and I don't think it's ever going to really get to that point, honestly.
No, I really like it when two top quality runners approach seed from different perspectives, different angles. You don't see following in each other's footsteps. It's a sign of a good seed when it's able to have such variety and still be fairly even. Wayfaring Fox, we started with Epona. That was our first song, so we had the horse from the start. A good point in chat. Yeah, it was.
Ooh.
There's Dins. Okay.
Wow. Okay, that's really big then.
Huge.
I mean, so if I'm not gonna say I understand the game perfectly. I'm not gonna say that I can call every situation here. But if what I said earlier about it's an item in the training grounds that leads to your dungeon for Baronade. If that at this point is, say, hovers, there are two things that could be there, hovers or strength 2. Strength 2 then means you have Requiem pointing to Spirit. Hovers then means you have Magic in the Graveyard, they both point to Shadow, and those would lead to your Boomerang. The Hammer presumably is in Forest, which we'll see now from gsk8, and then you're just missing the other item, the hovers or the strength 2, whichever one you don't find in training grounds. With our hints here, we might be one item from go mode already.
That's very interesting that Sponge is choosing to progress into Jabu. Only really one check, but it's still got to do it at some point. So I presume he's going to do that one check, then Ferora's Wind, and come back later. As chat was saying, you're not going to use Child Ferora's Wind on anything else. You may as well.
Yeah, low risk on this one for sure. The highest risk here is that you're in go mode by the time you get the boomerang, and you never end up doing the boomerang chest. And at that point, Sponge is doing that one extra check over gsk8 here, but it's a low one. Again, that's not a huge time investment, and it also just gives a chance, and the same on gsk8's side here doing Forest now. One of the advantages of dungeons like this, where it's pretty linear, you kind of just do the same thing every time, is it gives you thinking times. Now they can both just process those hints, start to figure out what's what, and just set things kind of on the right track again.
For sure, yeah. Both these dungeons are pretty much perfect for that. You can kind of you don't have to think too much. It's pretty much muscle memory, and then you can really consider the logic and where you stand. I've seen people in chat saying that this might be a J word, but I'm not going to say that word because every time I do, it's. I don't believe in commentator's curse, but at the same time, I don't want to push it either. Bongo's in logic now. That's good. We've got the ice arrows. Not blue fire arrows, Mel. Yeah, that's right. Blue fire arrows win.
A matter of time now. Just add blue fire arrows and we'll manage to somehow alternate seasons between rush ice and avoid ice metas. Right now, ice, pretty bad. Last season, incredible. Rush ice.
Oh,
Next
yeah,
season,
rush ice
blue
was...
fire arrows, rush ice again.
Anything that brings back rushing ice, I'm here for.
I hate ice cannon. I like this. I like the season 6 settings. I'm a big fan of this. I think we should keep this.
Ice is definitely, I think, the most divisive dungeon. Like, you either love to rush it and play it, or you just hate it and want it deleted. There isn't really anything in between.
It's up there. I wanna throw Shadow into the mix on that one though. Shadow is one where. Firstly, do you think Shadow is a good or a bad play? People hate seeing Shadow come up.
And there's that hammer.
Alrighty, and straight out.
I'm not messing about, straight to fire. And does mean we miss out on double forest, so that's...
Perfectly timed, perfect.
Yes. So, no nap time today.
Kind of raise this question though of like, okay, so presumably you want to follow your hint. At some point you're going to go over to the Gerudo training grounds and you're going to find an item. And then that will presumably let you beat a dungeon. Whether that's Shadow or Spirit is yet to be seen. But presumably that gets you one of them. And then... something. At that point, what next? You can do most of your dungeons, and you get the boomerang presumably in one of those dungeons, and you finish Jabu, and then you have one item, one dungeon left, and some locations to go to. There won't be much, so I imagine it'll just be in one of those dungeons.
Just sort of get it as we go.
I guess the one big play that would be left at that stage, assuming it doesn't just show up en route, is Ice Cavern.
I mean, we've got everything that we need for ice, and we have done for a while. It could just be that that's the solution to the inevitable casino for that last item.
It's always really awkward in situations like this, because I know there's a lot of people who read into, you know, oh, this item showed up early, or this item hasn't led to anything yet, and that kind of thing, but Ice Cavern in particular is not a great one for that. Specifically on the grounds of, well, Jabu's a medallion. You need the letter to get, you need like everything there to get to Jabu anyway.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, you know, oh well, the hammer and the mirror shield haven't led to anything. They're just required. A mirror shield, not in this seed, but you know what I mean. gsk8 chugging some milk before continuing on, get that health refill, get the timer nice and pretty.
Yeah. I think it's a big difference.
That was really subtle there, but I want to point out what gsk8 is doing there. If you hit the ocarina button in midair, it pauses the timer as though you were playing the ocarina, but you're still moving because you can't play the ocarina in midair. gsk8 did that on the 2 jumps there to just save a little bit of time on each of those little jumps. The timer just disappeared around that movement, and that's kind of subtle. Like, you see it a lot in the crater where people will backflip and ocarina with their backflip to get out in time, but seeing it there from gsk8, that's a very interesting one where I don't think I've really seen many runners utilize that.
No, it was a good spot actually, because you don't see it very often. I wasn't sort of looking for it, but you're right, and that is a very subtle little time save.
I know, like, again, recent conversations, there's I asked people, you know, how many hearts do you feel comfortable with? And, you know, I've heard 3, 4, 5, and 6, but one of the answers was 5, and the exact reasoning was, that's the number of hearts I feel like I can get through Fire Temple on. So gsk8 being at 5 hearts here, that just like little buffer, giving you an extra...
gives you that sort of 40-odd seconds, which is usually more than sufficient for anything that you want to do.
Also picking up a Deku Shield there, notably, has not done Deku Tree yet.
Ah, that's good, so it's going to save a bit of time. I guess it doesn't really matter about saving money, but save a little bit of time. Getting that replacement for the one that they lost really early. Emo Soda saying that they just stay on free all day. To screw the small chests, which, you know,
I said I had the conversations with people about this. The person who told me 3, I get, if I get a bomb bag, that's it, no small chests, was Zephyr. And Soda and Zephyr have been rivals for years at this point, so that makes perfect
interesting.
sense.
I mean, considering that Emo's raced over 700 races in Rando, pretty confident. 3 hearts, I imagine.
That RSL practice, you gotta get used to low health. So, we're not really expecting to see anything in either of those dungeons. In case you're wondering why we're here talking about heart counts and... God only knows what else. It's possible. There could be something here, but I mean, there's a big chest here. We do know that one, I guess, but... Yeah, for the most part, we just have a couple of paths that we assume will lead towards everything here.
Yeah, so far the steed sort of has been working itself out as we go. All the items have kind of been on the way. The logic for the hints has been pretty strong. Gives us a lot of idea of where we're supposed to go and what we're supposed to do. Assuming Sponge is just going to clear water. Got the long shot.
Yeah, just beat the dungeon while you're here and then... Oh, Aurora's wind at the entrance just to get out that a little bit quicker as well.
Oh yeah, that Aurora's early. We're now seeing the benefits of it. And
gsk8 using... I think this is probably the most... Or, I guess it's the second most common for Aurora's. The most common being in Shadow.
Yeah, setting it so that you can come back if you need to do the front chests. Another big chest here of fire, which is strength 2. Oh, that's big. That's spirit available.
Huge.
What is gsk8 going to do? They seem to be thinking.
That's all available, right? None of this is out of logic, so I guess tunics? We don't have a tunic, maybe, so
Yeah, that's pretty much the only thing logically stopping us. There's no wallet and no tunics.
If we go over to Gerudo Training Grounds and there's a wallet there, just a single wallet.
I can see it actually. I can see that. That would be maybe a little bit of a slap in the face. It's like, hey, go buy a tunic you don't really need. Gerudo tunic rounds. I like it, Din. I like it a lot.
I think I want to go back to something I was saying earlier about how I think one of the biggest things with routing is that you want to be thorough early, aggressive mid, and all of that. And one of the biggest issues with that is recognizing when you've moved from early to mid game to late game.
Yes.
Because every seed is different. They'll throw items at you at different rates, different orders. Sometimes the hints will be useful, sometimes they won't. In this situation, I'm not sure there's a mid-game. This feels like the kind of seed where there is no mid-game, and you do your early game, and then you follow your hints into your late game. And Sponge is still being kind of thorough. We see him picking up, skulls in water.
Yep. Yeah, we've definitely got
interesting.
skulls, but nobody's got 20.
It'll be interesting to see how much he pushes the hints here. If he goes straight towards... It's got to beat water, and then I assume beat fire. And then it's a question of just who goes where from there.
Access to shadows available, but we don't have a hover boots. And we've got access to Jabu, but again we don't have the boomerang. So we need to find those somewhere.
As somebody who's not an organizer, that's a very difficult, loaded question. I'm going to settle for Sponge finished second in the previous tournament.
Yes.
That's as much as I know. For that one.
Was a finalist. Is considered one of the top runners, I would say, overall.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of like... It feels weird to say this. I think he's the first kind of top runner who really hit that level from Rando. Way back in season 1, ATZ was definitely the Rando main, but did have some speedrunning background, albeit less than the competition at the time. And then obviously Marco, What the Hell's Happened, Banuru, Duke, all people with a speedrunning history in the game. Sponge is the first one who's not had anything. He's come in to this game from the randomizer.
Yes. And has learned all the skills of has caught up with that sort of background skill, that base skill level that some of the others have from speedrunning. And that's interesting. Yeah, he's definitely the first one to sort of hit that level. Someone in chat calling him the people's champ, and I can kind of see that because of the rando background.
It definitely depends on which community. I know a lot of the French community would have some words to say there.
Oh, they certainly would, yeah. I mean, there's so many strong runners in the French community. It's incredibly strong.
Yeah, I feel like the people's champ in the French community was E-Crawler. And at this point, it's probably, assuming, we're talking specifically from the rando side of things and not from... Obviously, Marco is always going to be a fan favourite in the French crowd. Of course,
yeah.
But
excellent.
I feel like the other one up there at the moment is Ryu. Ryu Kane is the other one who stands out as the community favourite there.
I can get behind that. Yeah, I really like him. I've sort of been a fan, I would say, for quite a while, and he's really developed in terms of skill and routing. Yeah, he's just an all-around fun person. He's very popular. Likewise with Sponge, same sort of principle. We are going to get the quick kill on Morpher, which I always enjoy when we get that. Really difficult to do, and Sponge just makes it so easy.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where, like, when it's done well, you don't notice it, and when it's done badly, it stands out. But it's like, oh, I took one step too, like, I stepped forwards once too far. It's like there's a couple of steps in the middle where it works, and anything either side,
nope.
Too far away, too close. Morpher gets hookshot, you grab and it just drops straight back into the water, or you miss the grab, or so many ways to get that one wrong. Oh yeah, pointed out in chat there actually, that's a really good point. Sponge full cleared water. Still looking for items. You know, you're gonna go until you get the boss key and then you've got a decision to make. Sponge getting the boss key that late, there is no decision to make. You just full clear no matter what, which means gsk8, even if that's his go mode, will just full clear no matter what.
That makes sense. Shoot, Sun's got nothing for us.
Right, Sponge, show us Gerudo training grounds. Oh, I'm gonna set Pierre.
Well, that's interesting. That's a good move, I think.
Yeah, obviously we know that's required for fire. Sponge doesn't, but you're already here, why not?
Five hearts plus a fairy in a bottle should be sufficient for gsk8 to take out Bolv at this point.
I like the save there just in case. If something does go wrong, you keep that fairy around, keep your bomb count.
Yeah, good point. Chat pointing out that Sponge does have the water medallion. That needs to be marked.
So yeah, gsk8 showing off the quick Volvagia kill there with a bit of a troll hole on the first one. Volv popping up in the one where you want to be dropping bombs.
Always a pain. Bad luck.
Perfectly recovers it. Doesn't even need the fairy.
Meanwhile, Sponge taking no chances and has two fairies. Extra cautious. Even with the troll hole, gsk8 very much in control and excellently saving that fight. And, as you say, making it without even needing that fairy. Got 8 seconds to get into the light. Should be enough. Just a key.
Hole.
In control. Perfect. Alright, so fire done for gsk8. Sponge gonna do the same. Gonna clear fire here until they don't need to anymore.
We get to keep seeing different stuff at least. We haven't had the big double dungeon yet.
No, every time it looks like we're gonna get a double dungeon, someone dips out. Here's the last hammerlock chest here. Check even here.
So Sponge will get the strength 2 here, and then it'll be a question because obviously in G-Skate's shoes, the hints don't mean much yet. You don't have a long shot. It doesn't do anything at this point. It'll be interesting to see what decisions Sponge makes on that. Presumably both of them are going to go and beat Spirit at some point soon. But from there, it's that hunt for eventually the boomerang, and on the way there, the hover boots, presumably. G-Skate still needs long shot on Dins as well. But yeah, those hints potentially just pointing you directly to your items. Potentially. There's little bits of bait available still within there.
Speaking of potential bait, G-Skate is back here now with the hammer, so we're going to see what left side of maze.
Yeah, no, somehow I thought it would be that.
Some sort of meme item that was totally not worth it.
Yeah, I was like, Nearest Love, double defense. Nearest Love. Yeah.
It's baited G-Skate from the start when they tried to get across there with a trick that we don't think works.
Alrighty, so G-Skate walking out. Doesn't have the items to go and do any of the remaining dungeons at this point, so this probably means we're going to finally see
Here's the horse. GTG, perhaps.
Sorry, that was... Songs are really hard. That was spectacular. Yeah, we'll finally see what this training grounds path to Baronade is.
Tech right, just a bomb refill, so Iron Boots looking like DLC this seed. And G-Skate is off to Gerudo Valley and onwards to GTG at this point, it looks like. Gotta go get that tunic. Opponent playing nice today as well, getting that jump first time without
Good thing too, because this time of day, if you want to do horseback archery, this is
it's a little bit monkerous.
dangerously close there, but I think this is good.
Looks okay. Good timing. Planned.
Like, it's late enough that there's no music anymore, but I think early enough that it's not nighttime yet.
Yes.
Interesting not peeking the roof as well. Something we see a lot at the moment is first visit to the Gerudo area, you'll get caught by the guards, just intentionally. And that way you can look at the rooftop chest before you jump down and come in here to do this fight.
Yeah, it's a good point. Usually you would do so. The G-Skate deciding not to. Which I don't mind, really. I can always peek this chest later. And I think he was just in such a rush to make sure he got to horseback up in time. I was just grateful, I think, to get there. There's Sponge's strength 2, so for them, it's pretty much kind of getting quite linear route. It's a finish fire.
Yeah, I guess the big question
Spirit,
would be,
I guess.
yeah, did either of them decide to go and finish off Spirit and see what was there? But I doubt it. Considering Pathomorpha, at least in Sponge's shoes, there's no reason to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 100%.
Oh, and exactly 1500 for gsk8. That's close as it is. I guess for Lens of Truth. Treasure chest games now available to us.
So we probably won't see that close, but that would fulfill the, you know, magic plus item requirement if it had been in the training grounds and not just outside.
Yeah. So, yeah, looking more and more like it might actually be a tunic in GTG.
I didn't see anything on gsk8's side there. I guess you can see the chest if it's big and none of it's small with that peak.
I'm going to guess so, yeah. I'm going to guess it's a small chest. So I think it probably would have been visible otherwise. But here is our first dip into GTG. So let's see what it's got for us. Start counting some keys. It's our first key, just sat in the lobby. Let the Goron sword's going to save a bit of time here. It's always nice to get the big sword.
Oh,
Big sword gets a big chest. It is. Rumble pack.
that won't be it. Yeah, no.
Nope. We can find grottos now, so that's good. But grottos are in logic. But not what gsk8 was looking for. Adam, yes, I do remember when Agony was needed. That was fun times, not.
The worst part is I didn't even hate playing then, but when you get a like 2-3 hour Stone of Agony and you're just frantically running around reading hints, praying that 50 isn't required. Not because you should be running around reading hints. At that point you should just do checks and pick up the hints nearby still. But you do it anyway because you're going to forfeit if 50 is required and you want to find out as soon as possible.
Yeah, 100%. It's a boomerang in GTG. Okay, that's good. No strength 2 required there. Sat in GTG.
What is this logic?
We see the room for creepiest selection of enemies in the game, in my opinion. 3 likes altogether.
Oh god, terrifying.
The stuff of nightmares, likes when I was a child. And absolutely nothing in there. Complete waste of time for strength 2 in GTG.
I'm actually really tripped up by this logic.
Yeah, the boomerang is a little bit weird.
It's hookshot locked. We started with opponents. There's nothing else there. So it's just hookshot locked, no other item. One hookshot was in Zora River behind storms.
Mm-hmm.
You had bombs Sphere 0 to get into Zora River, and we had storms on the graveyard. No, the graveyard song was Requiem, and then Requiem.
Yeah, I don't actually remember where Storms was, but it was available really early.
Was Storms on Requiem? That would make sense. Okay.
Maybe. I thought
That's what I'm
Bolero was
missing.
on Requiem. Oh, yeah, no.
Requiem Bolero Storms. Okay.
That's it, yeah, it was on Creator. Makes sense.
And so that means your hovers have to be locked by Hookshot. Or, well, your hovers have to be locked by Requiem, which
Mhm.
doesn't say anything, because at this point
No.
the entire seed is locked by Requiem. So at this point we have no information. But we do have Jabu to go through, which is okay. It's only a handful of checks, but it's free checks. You're always going to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have Ice Cavern is I hate saying this. Ice Cavern is probably the best play at this point, like by a landslide. That said, gsk8 left very abruptly. So there is a lot of the Gerudo Training Ground still left, but
Yeah, sort of took the check with strength 2, took the boomerang, and then just bailed. Got Auroras, so it's not the end of the world. You can always come back. Gonna feel bad if you have to go back, but at least Auroras makes it not too bad.
Mhm.
And we are gonna get a reverse wasteland here from Sponge. He's just not gonna bother with the horse. He's gonna go straight through wasteland. We could get the check on the way. I don't think it's been hinted, so we are about to get treasure chest games. So get your guesses in chat for what you think the 1 in 32 is going to be.
I always do the same on this. LLRRL. Lon Ranch Router's letter.
Ah, nice. That's a nice easy one to remember.
It's more that you start left and then you just swap every time it changes colour. But I mean, I'm already wrong.
It's right so far. So I'm still in. Still got a chance. A big chest of a haunted wasteland. Right. Still in. And there's the wallet with the tunic.
Alright, well, strength 2 is in logic.
Oh, I'm out. It's right, left.
I think the bet for hovers is good at this point. We have a lot of the game available and pretty much everything could have them at this point.
Right, left is our solution today, and there's nothing. Not even going to check and see what it is, just a small chest. We'll have nothing in it that gsk8 wants. Sponge doing what I like to do, which is if you go up and then hang on the edge of the climb down to Haunted Wasteland, it lights up these flags nice and easily.
Every time I do this, I'm just like, the beacons are lit! Golden calls for rain!
Exactly. Yeah, we've cleared well. And the early bets are for Sunsong Grave. Everyone won for Sunsong. I guess as ADs go, it's not. Apart from Spirit, it's not too bad. We've sort of done Deku, and Forest is mostly complete.
Yeah, Forest at least they've not. It's not like you're doubling back on yourself either. They cleared out the courtyard. Mm-hmm. And then they would just be climbing the rest. And like, Spirit is just a strong play on the way. So you presumably... At this point, you're considering Ice Cavern, Training Grounds, Spirit as your like 3 big locations.
Yeah.
Circumstances change for that, you know. Sponge will probably clear out GCG here. Where gsk8 left earlier. gsk8 has to go to Deku Tree.
Yeah, as chat's pointing out, he's sort of hard avoiding Deku at this point. It's doing anything but Deku. So it's going to be Jabu first up. But yeah, interesting to see what Sponge does, whether they get the boomerang and bail. But they're going a different route. They're going right, so that's some divergence already.
It's worth noting that from gsk8's perspective, the path does make sense already. Requiem led to Storms. Well, Requiem to Bolero to Storms to Hookshot.
Yeah.
If your other Hookshot is just buried away somewhere at the back of this seed, that's already enough. So there's definitely a world where gsk8 just continues putting off Deku Tree, because at that point it would just be a risk. It would just be just a gamble, which I'm sure everyone has very strong opinions on metagaming in races. Generally, I think the general consensus is you're more likely to screw yourself over by metagaming than you are to help yourself.
Generally, I've sort of found that seems to be the case when someone metagames. Usually backfires.
I've definitely rambled a lot about metagaming and, like, not just when you should metagame, but also how. It's like, if you play to, like, a dungeon down. If you think your opponent is going to be half a dungeon ahead of you, you do the second best play. Because they get to the best play half a dungeon ahead of you, so you get to the second dungeon half a dungeon ahead of them. If you think your opponent will be a dungeon and a half ahead, you do the next dungeon down.
Yeah, I can see that.
But the other thing is that you have to be able to look at a seed and be like, okay, what advantages do I have? What did I do late? How much do I need to metagame? And in a seed like this, you know, the early game, they completely split. And those early splits made a big difference. There comes a point where you're just like, I can't follow this. I have to just play my own game, because there's no way I can follow any level of metagaming. I can't know what my opponent would have done here.
Yep. Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying at the start, because of such different routing at the start and the different items, it could make a big difference, and that's sort of what we're seeing here, the Sponge. Definitely has a dungeon also advantage. Adam with a good point. I don't think we have seen Target in the woods. I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, hasn't? Yeah, gsk8 has a slingshot, Sponge doesn't. gsk8 has not been to Child Kokiri Forest at all. Wild.
Hard avoiding it really at this point. Not 2 hours. So.
Got the song, but that was before getting the slingshot, I think.
Sponge getting the health refill there that they opening the small chests. And they're going to carry on in GTG. Not gonna bail.
Did do right side first, so there isn't a ton available here. Did peek the maze, so
that's just another key.
did not key count, so I have no idea whether the toilet is a check or an item here, but it is off in the distance, buried behind Shadow Temple, so you're just not going to worry about it.
Yeah, correct. It's not really much chance of it being something that you want to do.
Oh, quick save from Sponge there. For those who don't know, that's just a little strat. Tiny time save, really, but a really valuable one. You set Feroz Wind. As you warp to it, you can save. And if you reset at this point, you'll still have your Feroz Wind there, even though you warped to it. it takes a little while to actually delete the warp.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty interesting. I didn't actually know that was a thing.
Yeah, it mostly just comes up in Ganon's castle. You see a lot in like the tower climb more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting that you've got that window to be able to do that. Ocarina of Time. It's an exceptionally well-coded game, as everyone knows.
Yeah, good point coming up in chat here. gsk8 will presumably grab that fairy fountain coming out of here.
I'd hope so.
I mean, there's a world where we just see hovers in here and gsk8 just needs to do Deku Tree.
That would be pretty big if it was. Could you imagine that Sponge wouldn't be too far behind at that point either?
Mm-hmm.
We got the boomerang now.
And so Sponge heading out to check Garuda Valley. I don't think we saw Garuda Valley from either of them yet. I don't think we saw gsk8 peek this.
Nope. No, I don't think we have any idea what's in Valley. Apart from knowing that the Hammerox is dead.
Yeah, I think with the information we have, we actually know it can't be here. If Requiem locked both hookshots via Storms, via Bolero, then the hovers being here would mean you could get that Bolero song without having Requiem.
Yep. And nothing there, just a purple rupee. It's pretty accurate. You have to be with that Chew to get that. Couldn't see
no
what was in
idea why
Fountain.
Yeah.
No. Maybe
You
Sponge
hit, though?
doesn't know either. I think we saw that before as the pose.
We have
dead.
big pose.
I think we saw that, but I can't remember where. But yeah, nothing in river, so I'm just gonna save quit or just quit.
gsk8 went for my favourite big Octo strat and just narrowly missed it. You can, so normally you see people either run into Big Octo and just let him run past you during the damage frames, or wait a bit, let him hit you, and then he'll turn around and you jump smash. gsk8 there, what you can do is, so you jump slash before the fight, and then going into the fight you immediately turn around, shield, and jump into the spikes. The shield pushes you backwards behind and you can crouch stab to kill.
That's a really swag one. I've seen that a couple of times and it's just it's always impressive. gsk8 not going to lower the platform, going to go for the box skip. Can you get it? Yes, first time. Time saved. Very nice.
Easy trick.
I
totally didn't spend like hours trying to learn that.
I have opinions on that trick. I think it's 3 at the same time is generally what I've heard. Although you can make it consistently first try but a little slower by pause buffering the up A input. But it's basically just the same inputs as B1 skip. It's, I don't know. I have very strong opinions on it. Just mash quickly, it's free. It's a really easy trick. Comes up in 2/3 of seeds because Jabu is a medallion in 2/3 of seeds.
It's true. It's true. It's a good point. Speaking of Jabu, Sponge is back here now. It's, following right behind gsk8 at this point. Still a Deku Tree ahead. Still a Water Temple ahead. looking pretty good for Sponge at the moment. And Jabu had nothing, but we do have a medallion. Very clean Baronade, as Drew and Lee point out.
I guess, like, I know it's like the meme to talk about clean Baronade and everything, but I will say, like, the Jabu from gsk8 was really, really good here, and I think one of the things when people practice execution that is kind of difficult to actually do is just sit down and practice dungeons. Just running dungeons is so good because that is the part of the game, you know, again, each dungeon, 2 and 3 seeds. That's the part of the game you will do more than any other. And so that speedrunner background, that execution edge, that's where it mostly comes through.
For sure, yeah. It's just the repetitively time-saving, optimizing as much as you can in all the dungeons. That sort of speedrunner background of optimization for sure comes in really handy, especially at this level in racing.
Alrighty, so we are seeing Sacred Forest Meadow here from gsk8. If the hovers are just on the target, the race might just be over.
It might be. It absolutely could hinge, and like all good rando, always looks like one person is in the lead until they're suddenly not.
I feel like this is a wild question to ask because it feels baffling to say this at the 2-hour mark. I know we've not seen the target in the woods. Have we even seen Memory Game? Did Sponge do Ocarina Memory Game?
I don't think so. I'm not sure if I remember it.
I remember seeing it. We did? Okay.
Okay, we might have seen it, yeah. Sponge did it. I didn't remember that way, but yeah, Diane's quite right. The irony of not remembering that you did the memory chess game is pretty strong. Wonder if we'll see that trick you were talking about from Sponge. No, just gonna do the standard, no messing about.
Safe, consistent. The wait and get hit one as opposed to the run forward.
As you say, safer, more consistent. And yeah, we're still avoiding Deku on gsk8's side. So, oh, I've got some child Goron I can do. I'll do that. I'll clean up all the other child checks apart from the Deku tree. But yeah, that Kakiri sword and a path location, it's really strange that gsk8 hasn't followed that yet.
Yeah, again, I understand the logic of it, I guess, if, you know, I will say, I think, you know, it's really easy for us and chat, I guess, to sit here and say, oh yeah, no, this is path because
100%.
you got Requiem in the graveyard that led to Bolero, that led to Storms, that led to your hookshot, that if your other one is just hookshot locked, then that will make sense. In gsk8's eyes, if he is following that at this point, that still makes sense then. At that point, you get Spirit to Morpher, but it could just be an item in Spirit still. You've not gone there and explored, you've not done anything. And also, until you get the hovers, you don't have to worry about it too much. But,
yeah.
I thought gsk8 had forgotten the memory game there.
That's the one thing you don't want to... You want to do it all over again.
It's like wild to think that's the faster version of this. It used to be 8 notes.
I'm so glad they changed that. Quality of life.
I
vastly
remember,
improved.
like, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I replaced my computer, and I was clearing out the old hard drive, going through to see if I wanted to keep anything, and I found the first seed I'd ever rolled, the first seed I
wow.
ever played, and I was like, this could be interesting. Let's see where I was, what I was doing, how much. So firstly, I was at like 17 hearts because I just full cleared the game, not knowing anything.
I mean, chest-sized match of
secondly-
contents was nothing but a dream at that point.
Right, yeah. But secondly, I tried to warp, and it told me I couldn't because you couldn't warp from Ganon's castle. So I walked outside, I warped, I watched the animation as the light sparkled off on the warp animation, and I closed it, I was done.
It's like, yeah, I'm not going to subject myself to this.
And that was like 2 years ago, and the randomizer's come a long way since then as well.
It's huge. I mean, I remember really early Lost Challenge Seeds. That was what I started playing way back when, and some of the settings in those days were pretty harsh.
Oh, Mido's house!
2-hour Midos from gsk8. Let's go. 2-hour Kokiri Forest. Incredible. What a strange routing. What a strange seed.
Yeah, wow.
I don't think I've ever seen it that late, honestly.
No, saying not as like actual, like I've seen people kind of meme about it and stuff. And, you know, oh, let's not check Midos for the first hour, haha, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, I think that's the first time I've ever seen it as like actual routing decision.
It's very unusual. It's unorthodox, I'd say. That's the thing. I think gsk8 has made some pretty unorthodox routing choices, which haven't really worked out, but he's still in the race. He's still the potential. Find those hovers and is in a very strong position. That's what it is at the moment, essentially.
Ooh, we're gonna get a look at.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shadow Dip. Okay.
I've done commentary on like 4 races for the tournament so far, and the first 2 both had vanilla hovers, and then the last one had logic pointing to it, and I was so scared it was going to happen for a third time, and then it was tunic logic. It was a wallet in Shadow. But I'm still 50% on vanilla hovers this tournament on comms, so we'll see.
I mean, just getting that twice in a row is quite a. It's such a weird location for him. Like the chances of it happening are pretty slim, but then when it does happen, you're like, oh, that's kind of handy. One hour 59 and 5 seconds, and gsk8's finally in Deku Tree. Has avoided it long enough. Cannot avoid it any longer.
And I wonder how much of this shadow play for Sponge is also just thinking time again.
For sure.
Spirit, the rest of Forest. I guess the rest of Spirit, the rest of Forest, and then Ice Cavern are your 3 big options.
Yeah.
And I think there are better and worse plays among that. But all of them have risks. All of them have strengths and weaknesses.
I agree. I think it comes down to a mixture of gut feeling and whichever one you sort of feel you're at. Nothing at all to begin with in Shadow this time. Happy 2 hours. We have reached 2 hour mark with a Deku Tree on one side, which is unusual. So let's shout out everybody joining me on comms. Yoshi-kun, which is fantastic, having a great time with her. And we're 2 runners, gsk8 and Sponge. If you're not following, definitely follow them. As you can see, they're top level runners and also entertaining views as well. And not to forget, the most important people is our trackers today, which is Mad Mark Adam and my fellow Brit Chuckles. And also restreamer Shiro, who's doing a great job, as always. My favourite people in the community. So definitely shout outs to Shiro. check out her artwork. Very, very good.
Yeah, and a big thank you to everyone for joining us for this race. This has been spectacular. Feels like it doesn't quite cut it somehow. This has been... I've seen things in this race I've never seen before, and I've been around this community for a while now.
Yeah, for sure. It's two great runners fighting for their pulling out all the stops.
Yeah, tournament life on the line. This is losers bracket action, so fighting to stay in the tournament at this point, which is incredible when you consider they were both top 6 last season.
Oh, yeah, it really shows the strength of the depth of talent within the rando community at the moment. It just keeps getting stronger every. It's harder and harder to predict.
Yeah, the rate that people improve at is just incredible as well. There's some names that you see come up every year. Some people who I think it would be an absolute shock if they didn't make the bracket, and then there are some people who are the kind of the new wild cards, and
Yes,
you know, the more we see people grind, the more those wild cards are sneaking into those guaranteed spots as well. You know, last year, Ecola stands out as someone who was the new name who'd been grinding, and
for sure.
this year I think everyone was like, if Ecola didn't make it, something's gone wrong.
You definitely have to let yourself be at the mercy of it. There's every year people will find things to complain about every qualifying season.
Alrighty, nothing up here. Sponge doing a little bit of cleanup here, so these are kind of slow checks. Lots of back and forth with this. Kind of a lot of running from place to place, a lot of, you know, hiking between checks, and
yeah, deciding to like kind of go overworld clearing than rushing the dungeons right now, Sponge. Which I don't really hate, to be honest. I think just for knowledge and his own preference of knowing, right, I've done overworld. It's nothing, sadly. Now I've got to go dungeon dipping. Yeah, Chuckles, we saw the big chest in Gourmet's was the condom. It was a meme item.
Sponge hasn't touched Goron City. Incredible.
Yeah, they came here as child pretty early, but have not been back since. Mel thinks that at this point it is AD for Sons, and I don't know, it's getting more and more likely. It's suspicious, I would say. We have everything for AD. We've had everything for AD pretty early, apart from the Strat 2.
At the very least, still got a Spirit and a Forest to worry about on the way through to that. A lot of checks between those two, and not to mention Ice Cavern and some overworld around them.
For sure. I mean, I literally haven't got anywhere near Ice Cavern right now, and I think, well, that's a pretty strong play. But then I like Ice Cavern, so...
I don't, but I still think it's a strong play right now.
Begrudgingly. If they're playing the Siege, you'd be begrudgingly going. So, yeah, I don't want to go, but...
I think the big thing with Ice in particular here as well is, you know, it's Prelude, so it at least has like a little bit of value, even if not much. And it's... So Spirit has like more checks early and better density early, but half of it's already cleared, and Twin Rover is an incredibly slow check.
Oh,
Forest
yeah, for sure.
is a lot of very slow checks. Ice is just pretty consistently fast the whole way. So I I hate saying that. It's not fast. The travel there is really, really slow. But it's faster than Spirit or Forest at this point.
For sure. Sponge has made the decision, and it's Spirit. What's gsk8 going to do?
Yeah, this could be a big turning point if they go in different directions here. Oh, gsk8 will probably beat water first, though, yeah.
Good point, yep.
Oh?
There's Serenade? No. Not
Oh?
Serenade, Minuet.
Is
Ice?
this ice?
No, Forest. Interesting. Oh, for Aurora's win for GTG, it could be as well. That's a good point, Adam.
Ah, okay.
Back to GTG.
That makes far more sense.
And it's like, what? Forest? Really?
Oh.
Oops. Try that one again.
Alrighty, so obviously we know there's nothing in here. We haven't seen the checks that Sponge is doing here, so this is some new information for us as well.
Still nothing, though. Particularly. But Sponge does have a water temple lead.
I completely missed the part where ice isn't locked. Yeah, no, okay. So, yeah, for anyone who missed this earlier, there was a path to Baronade in the graveyard, and it was Requiem because you needed Requiem to get either hookshot. One was locked by Storms, one was locked by Requiem directly, pretty much. It was in Spirit. The one that's locked by Storms was by playing Requiem to get Bolero, and then playing Bolero to get Storms. So the hovers cannot be available at that point, or you would be able to hover to get Storms instead. So, in some way, the hover boots have to be locked by Requiem, and Ruto's letter was early, Zelda's Lullaby was early, you know, the explosives were early to get in there to turn in the letter. Ice Cavern is completely available with that, so it cannot have the hover boots.
That explains not going to Iceman. Spirit looking like a good play then, but it's just still not giving us anything. Just some keys. Could have the light arrows, as Adam says. Yeah, that's true. And Prelude, we know it's got Prelude.
Honestly, at this point, if you're playing a seed as well, it's like almost inevitable that it has light arrows. You're going to Ganon's going, I'm going to get the hint because it might just say my castle, but it's going to be ice. You know it's going to be ice.
Chances of that are pretty favourable, I would say. Yeah, those pots over there. That's pot sanity. Season 7 pot sanity.
Oh my god.
We'd have some pretty long sheets or pretty short sheets.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, child spawn is in the market bridge, we're going to the guardhouse, and oh, I'm in go mode.
even faster than Blitz settings.
Alrighty, Roswind freed up for gsk8. It will go off to beat Water Temple now.
Is on the path, but still behind Sponge. It really depends on whether Sponge finds these hovers here or not.
Oh?
It's just another bomb bag. Bomb bag percent. Lots of explosives for Seed. It's been very liberal with the bombs. Master Quest Jabber for Season 7. I can get behind it. Everyone wants to see the cows in the I think you're right, Grandel. Yeah, I think Sponge shot. But I'm not 100% on that. I think he does. Yeah, he got it from Maze. Chat's confirmed. He definitely has. And yeah, Shawnee making a good point. That Dins in that room is a bit risky having it on a C button. You can hard crash.
Again, I guess I'll give a hot take here. If you're in the bracket and you're accidentally hitting your action button,
you brought it on yourself.
You are lucky to be there.
You got some really good qualifying seeds. Exceptionally well coded game. Exceptionally well coded.
On the other hand, the lower one, where you're pushing the mirror and you let go of it and accidentally light two mirrors at the same time, or two of the suns at the same time, that one, absolutely seen that happen, and there is like so little you can do to control that when it happens.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of known soft locks if for the rules of FPA. There's at least 10 or 11 that aren't coverable because you should just know them. They're well-known soft locks. That's one of them. But you know, Sponge is way too good to stake like that. Very, very surprising.
gsk8 being bullied by shell blades, one of the most annoying enemies in the game.
I hate these. I hate these enemies. But there we go, finally eliminated them. Speaking of enemies I hate, we've got Assault Sponge on Troll Rover.
I did forget that Sponge's biggest weakness is that he uses the C-stick.
Oh yeah, Drew making a good point when he could easily accidentally dins.
I don't understand C-stick gamers. I don't get it. Buttons are so good.
I mean, I'm definitely in the button crowd rather than the C-stick crowd.
Yeah, no, like I use GameCube controller, but the XYZ buttons are just too good for items. The only reason to use the C-stick is C-up and nothing else.
C-stick does mean you can do a funky PS song, at least. But, but that's about it. Sponge is now finished with Spirit Temple. Another stone down for the AD for Suns for.
Oh, it's a matter of time here, isn't it? Forest and then.
Yeah, it's pretty much Forest really. At this point.
We'll slowly work our way towards that Sun song. And like, I think one of the really big things in terms of metagaming and in terms of like mental state in Rando is it is very, very easy to think you're losing. It's so easy to think you're behind. And if you are going off towards a Sun Song on all dungeons for one check, you feel behind. Doesn't matter if it works or not, you feel like you're behind.
Yeah, more so than usual. I don't think we've seen top of a lap yet, so this is a new check here from Sponge.
I don't think this could be hovers though.
Lap dive we got a hint for, but it's dead. Soho, so we're not going to see that. And that's
And
just a tunic.
none of this was locked by Requiem.
Nope.
Which I will say, like, you know, I tend to kind of pride myself on logic in this game, and I got massively tripped up by that a few times already.
Yes.
It's not something you will follow while racing most of the time. It's a lot easier when you're not playing to follow the logic.
Especially in this case with that so everything has to be behind it. It's not necessarily something that's that obvious when you're in a racing situation. But I don't hate Adult Lake. No, it's not going to be here, but still got to find those light arrows on the way. So fish not playing nicely. Sponge gonna have to leave and presumably go back in. Yep.
But yeah, I think Sponge doing Lake here at least tells me he's not got that part of the logic. And like I say, I fully expect neither of them have, honestly. But that makes me think that Sponge is just avoiding ice because it's kind of inefficient. It's difficult to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And not because of the logic specifically.
I think you're right. I think it's just a pain. There's that minuet finally, so the rest of forest now.
Alrighty.
December, we did check Colossus Ferry, it was nothing.
So forest is probably our most likely location at this point. Which, that's a sorry state of affairs.
It certainly is.
Iambus were behind storms, weren't they?
Yeah.
So that is Requiem locked, so yeah. Hovers could be behind that.
Also, chat asking if Sponge is a real person. No. No, we're not. They're advanced AI. So programmed by Trez.
I won't go into the full backstory, but yeah. Sponge's dad is Namaha, and Namaha is secretly part robot now. Or not so secretly, because it comes up on comms pretty often.
the most well-known secret. Sponge is just a myth at this point. I would do a blame Trez in chat, but I spent all my money betting who's going to win. Oh, I can't.
Amazing.
Oh, there they are. That's it. Straight out of there, straight to Shadow. We are in glow mode.
So, odds are we see light arrows in Shadow. Not guaranteed. Ganon's castle is the obvious big side point, and that's also, for what it's worth, if you're here as gsk8 fan, if you if you're one of those one betters in this race, then you're hoping for My Castle and Strength 3 required right now, and a whole other item hunt on top of this.
You're not getting a quick grab there. It's a little bit more time loss. Looking pretty good for Sponge at this point. Kind of has most of the race. Sanjo coming in for raid of 9. Joining us in glow mode for Sponge.
Welcome in all. So, gsk8, just missing the hover boots, needs to make his way to forest at some point. And we still have light arrows as a potential thorn in the side of all of this, but probably won't cause any issues with all the shadow available.
Oh, just a slingshot, so no light arrows yet for.
Not even the early keys.
Chat's still hoping for light arrows and sun grass, Kevin.
Okay, and yeah, gsk8 also doing fishing here, which means neither of them have followed that convoluted Requiem logic. And, you know, again, I don't think there are many runners who would be able to follow that mid-race.
No. No, even with like you know, the thinking dungeons were all sort of a bit earlier on, and if you didn't sort of work it out then, it's just been sort of following what you can do, trying your best. Oh, yeah, pretty much just following in Sponge's first.
Yeah.
Has completed Water Temple, so I think that needs to be marked on their tracker. At least I'm pretty sure. I didn't see why we stepped into the marker.
And yeah, we're just waiting to see really if we can see where lights are. Lights, obviously, we have absolutely no information on, so I guess maybe that's the argument on gsk8's side, is like whether they follow the logic or not, both of them doing Adult Lake. It's, well, it could have your light arrows. You do it while you're here, but you don't go out of the way for it. I'd be more inclined to believe the Requiem logic is just not on their radar at all.
Right, here's gsk8's turn to dip shadow. So we're getting a sort of double shadow, at least. Our first double dungeon of the day.
Yeah, almost a free play even, as well. Like, the amount of time it takes you to walk back out afterwards, you're not really losing much time by just doing these two checks here and then walking away.
I mean, like you said, you had two races in a row where it was just sitting there. So it's a
Yeah, definitely can happen. Although 3 races without now, I feel like the curse is broken.
yeah. It was a curse for a while, but the thing about curses is they can come back and strike at any time. Might not be this race, but next race perhaps, or the one after. Getting deeper into the tournament, someone's going to trip up on that and win, or not.
I'm still a little bit convinced that the and this is entirely feasible with the randomizer algorithm and stuff. I'm entirely convinced that there are periods of time where certain plays are better or worse.
Yeah.
There was a point about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago now maybe, where every single seed for 2 months straight, the answer was Ice Cavern.
Mm.
And then it
I
was
do
just
remember.
gone again for 6 months.
Yeah, Triss fans and the Russian were very happy. Now in shambles. It was good for a while.
No lights and shadow yet.
No. Definitely going to have to be a hint, and that will be very interesting. Like you said, there's still a slight opportunity, but it could just be strength 3 locked, and then that could give gsk8 a chance to get back in it. Now chat's singing Blue by Eiffel 65. Now it's in my head, so thank you very much.
Yeah, no, same, yeah.
DevTwit are literally doing the verse as well, which is appreciated. Alright, Soho, see you later. I'm blue. If I was green, I would die.
Oh, gsk8 considering the save quit there and then opting against it. Wondering what the warp is here then, because presumably this is... Spirit it is. I was going to say, presumably this is one of the dungeons.
Yeah, off to Spirit. Not gonna find what they want.
And yeah, obviously, we know at this point then, this is 100% just lost time for gsk8 at this stage.
Mm-hmm.
If it's required, Sponge has already done it. And if it's not required, gsk8 is losing time on it now.
Spirit play definitely makes sense though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
From his position, you can't really argue against it with the amount of checks, but we know that that's not the play, sadly, for gsk8. I think I'm going to lose my channel points. I think that might be a thing.
It's one of those things where if both runners make the same play, neither of them loses time. But Sponge is currently ahead, so nobody losing time benefits him more. gsk8 needs someone to lose time and needs it to be Sponge.
Yeah. And there's the light arrows, so no, that's pretty much it at this point. I think we can safely say that barring some major catastrophe, Sponge is probably going to win this one, as they are in go mode now. Just need to beat Shadow, and go beat Ganon, and that'll be that, and it will progress to the next round. Which the winner of this will play Zavi in the next round bracket, and losers bracket round 3.
Yeah, as obviously we'll see if we'll get the runners in for an interview potentially, if they're feeling up to it, and you know, it's always an interesting thing to see what they have to say about the seed. It's also always, especially if you've just lost a race like this, it's a kind of daunting thing to then come in and talk to people about it and have to keep up the...
For sure. You might just want to throw your controller and swear a lot rather than come and talk to.
But if any of you have questions you want us to ask them, let us know now and we can try and make some notes of those for later.
It might be a bit... And it's Bongo absolutely massacred. Very easy. Ask him human or AI. Well, we already know the answer to that. He'll tell us he's human, but we all know. Sponge is on a different level. Give him a Turing test. Inko with a good point, yeah. It would literally rush ice every seed.
I'm really surprised nobody's done that already. How do we not have an AI that learns from, like, a sim or something?
I'm just waiting. Like, Sponge is the beta version, the initial version. Eventually, someone's going to come along, and it's just going to be technically perfect play all the time, and you're going to be like, okay, that's an AI. I would imagine so. Yeah.
I feel like there are like 8 to 10 people I could point to in the community and be like, oh, this is always the correct play, like, no matter what. And like 3 or 4 of them are in the same half of losers bracket right now, so...
That's, yeah, incredible.
Rando gonna rando, as they say.
As they say, yeah, absolutely. The synthetic lights were just in shadow, just on the way. Very nicely positioned. gsk8 getting their final bomb back. I'm going to be feeling really bad about it. I think Gotta Know at this point is probably way behind and is not feeling good in shadow. In spirit, I mean.
Yeah, only like 230 through the seed, but the early game just kind of threw items, so it's been very efficient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll see some seeds go longer than this, but with the number of items that this handed you early, and gsk8 did skip twin over here. Interesting.
Looks like it, yeah. Got to be feeling behind then at that point. Like, has decided that shadow was not the play. Are they playing Bolero?
I guess the ice cavern play?
I think we might finally be seeing ice. Well, we might not. We might see the entrance to ice. And then we might off it. I think Sponge got to be feeling pretty good here.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if you ever feel good in this position.
True.
Ganon fights are...
Been sniped enough, and...
Oh, Ganon fights are nerve-wracking, but... It's always one of those things where it's like you'd rather lose by like a dungeon or two than lose while you're on the Ganon fight.
For sure. I mean, that's what happened last race. Oh no, the first race when he got knocked down to losers bracket in round 1. That was essentially what happened. So, got to be in the back of his mind that it might happen again. But you just got to control what you can control and not worry too much. Easier said than done when you're in a race where this is it. You know, you lose, you're gone. That's the end of you for season 6. And both these runners, as you said, were top 6, wanting to progress much further than losers bracket round 2.
Different format, of course. Very I like the shifting formats. I think the different playstyles and everything working really well here. And yeah, there are different approaches will work better this season than they did last, and vice versa. That isn't to say, you know, oh, their approach isn't working now. It's very much there is a world where different runners get in because of the settings, and we're seeing that shake up. New people coming into the community, the settings change. I think every bracket from this point is going to be unpredictable, and this one is certainly living up to expectations. I think every prediction was wrong within 3 matches.
For sure. What I like as well is like some of the good runners that are coming through. It's like kind of crazy to me, but a lot of them is like only really got into it around season 4 and 5, and they're sort of, you know, already progressing, and like having been here since like season 1 blows my mind. But we've got some great runners come so late. And that is GG's for Sponge, finishing first with a time.
2:38.03 there on the winning time. So gsk8 does just stop there.
Yeah, not gonna carry on.
Absolutely fair.
Looks like both of them are going to come and have a quick chat with us as well. They've agreed to that. Obviously, we're on a 20-minute delay, so this race will have finished a while ago. So they've been sat there waiting. So hopefully we'll have a chat with them really soon.
They did both agree for an interview, so I'll send a post in the race room, let them know Restream caught up, and whenever they come in the waiting room, oh, there's Sponge. Alright. Hello, GG's.
GG Sponge.
Congrats.
Congratulations. Through to the next round.
Thank you.
How do you feel about that seed?
I felt like I played it almost perfectly in the beginning, and then it's a toss-up as to where the hovers are, and that's when the nerfs started kicking in. But other than that, yeah, this felt like... It's strange for me to say this, but this felt like every weekly ever, if that makes sense.
You were right, yeah, it was you were sort of ahead for most of it, like at least a dungeon ahead the whole time, and it was, as you said, a race for the hovers. Yeah, gsk8 didn't even get to forest in the end. They were in ice.
Yeah, we had a little chat in the race room
beforehand. But yeah, it seemed like fairly straightforward, pretty throughout, kind of linear, I guess, in a way. And you definitely made the right choices early on, like you said.
Yeah,
for some reason, I'm not
sure.
Where
sequencing is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Because Minuet's Child Lost Woods and your Kokiri Swords and Spirit, so if you happen to walk over there, it's like, now you have to play Minuet after Child Spirit and go back and get it again. Like, I guess it's not that bad, now that I think about it. But, like, if you decide to go to Adult SFM because you have SFM the Bongo in your Adult one, like, that's just a big time waste. Like, and the worst part is you just kind of have to guess about it. So...
Yeah, I assume we'll talk more about the logic and stuff once we can get gsk8 in here as well, because there was definitely some stuff to talk about, but it threw a lot of it at you very quickly.
Yeah, I hear that there's some funky Requiem logic going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw Graveyard to Baronade, and I picked up the Boomerang in GTG, and I just stopped thinking about it, because I'm like, well, I don't know what this is, but it's not relevant anymore, right? Right?
Well.
Here's gsk8 as well.
Hey,
Welcome.
oh, good evening.
GG's Cheesecake.
GG's, well played again.
Oh, that's right. We played last season too.
Kind of hoping I'd get my revenge, but not this time, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll play again at some point.
Yeah,
Name
for sure.
something.
Of course.
For sure.
So we were just saying there was some interesting logic in this seed, and we kind of wanted to see if either of you pieced any of it together, like thinking back on it now. So early on you got Graveyard to Baronade, and we spent a long while trying to figure out what that one was about, and it was Requiem, so that you could get both the Kokiri sword for a hookshot and Bolero to get Storms to get the other hookshot, which meant that your hover boots, because it was Bolero to Storms, your hover boots had to be locked by Requiem somehow.
Yeah, so I got the int super late because I did Kokiri Forest very late, and so when I got the int, I was like, wait, what? So for a while, I thought it was just magic, maybe for Spirit to get the Kokiri Forest. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sure about it. Like, it had to be either magic or Requiem anyway. So for hookshot, I figured, but yeah, it was kind of weird.
At one point, it was sort of like it looked like you were in a hard and Deku all together.
Yeah, so it was kind of strange, to be honest. I mean, I got Kokiri Sword very early, and I was like, great, let's rush Deku Tree. That was my plan, actually. But then the way it went was pretty bad. Like, I actually did not get a good opportunity. Like, after Spirit Child, I did Lake to get out, and I was going to do Ranch, then Deku Tree, but I found a bomb bag in Ranch, and I was like, you know what, my save warp is in Temple of Time. I skipped DC already when I had the choose in Adult 1. Like, I almost did DC in Adult 1, so I was like kind of afraid I missed something there. And so when I found the bomb bag, I was like, okay, let's just go back and do DC. And then I kept doing a little Adult so I could get my Nocturne, so that I do Bottom of the Well next time I go Child. And like, I kind of did that stuff. And so I went back as Child, I did the Bottom of the Well and stuff like that. And I was about to go to Kokiri Forest, and so I had two options. It was either just like play Serenade again and do Hyrule Field South, which I already done. So that was kind of bad. So I figured I'd go up the river and maybe do Domain or something. And I found the scale, and I was like, yes, that's great. But then at the top of Zora's River, I found the Gerudo Training Ground pass for Baronade. So I was like, okay, I'm just getting the song in SFM, which was Minuet, so it was great. I was like, let's go Adult. I could do Forest for my Volvagia, I could do Fire, I could do GTG. So I had a lot of stuff Adults. At that point, I really did not want to do like Ocarina minigame and Deku Tree, which might be a bait anyway. So I figured I'd go back as Child later with the Boomerang and do everything at once. And actually, I think it was fine.
Yeah, no, it was
okay.
out. Oh.
But that was very strange. But yeah, I don't know. Like
Yeah, it
the
just
lack
seemed
of long shot did not punish me, I think. But it was just I just ended up doing a lot of checks that maybe was not necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, it was that routing was, like you say, kind of just following things.
I think it was
Yeah.
just a little inefficient. Like walking to SFM when Minuets and Child Lost Woods, like that definitely cost some time.
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
for
in
sure.
my brain. Like it's just like it worked out, but I think it was slower of the two routes that we took, and I think that's why, at least from what it sounds like, I took an early game lead. Although it makes
Yeah,
sense
for
though,
sure.
The logic makes sense.
And I think the other thing with this seed as well is what with Minuet being there, it was kind of a thing of you never got a good way to go there, and at some point you just had to kind of, okay, cut the losses, bite the bullet, and just run there. Just
Yes.
get there in whatever way you can. And that works out with the scale and everything.
Yeah, I actually got lucky because if I didn't find the scale in Zora's River, that was kind of bad. I would have had to like go down the river, and that was pretty slow. And if it wasn't Minuet in Saria's song location, then I mean it was Prelude maybe, so like it was either that or Ice Cavern. So I was like, okay, but still finding Minuet for me there was very lucky as well. But yeah. I think routing was just weird.
It makes sense, but I think weird is the right way to describe it.
Yeah,
nice
yeah. I never do that.
Yeah,
I was like, when I went back to Lost Woods, I was like, wait, I still need to do Ocarina minigame. It's 2 hours in. What the fuck?
Is that cola?
It made it a good watch though. Like it's very to just watch such different routing from both of you right from the very start. So,
Oh yeah, we had immediate divergence because I went straight to Lon Lon.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. I probably should have done that, to be honest. I've done a lot of weird stuff this race that I don't usually do. Maybe it's because I haven't been playing much. I don't know. But I don't know. It was kind of fun.
it was definitely fun to watch. It looked like it was quite not a seed, but sort of pretty straightforward.
For the most part, yeah, until you have to find the hover boots. And it's just ice, spirit, forest, open the door. Like doors 1, 2, and 3. Like one of them has your hover boots.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And gsk8 did the same route that you did. They took the same guesses there and nothing there.
Yeah, when it came between choosing between ice, forest, and spirit, I just kind of went with game theory because the past couple of times I've had this choice. It's like, well, you know, if my opponent does like maybe like gsk8 is in the exact same situation as me because I don't think you go any deeper in forest after the hammer. So I think gsk8, if they were in my shoes, would pick spirit. So I'm gonna go spirit and then forest and then ice because that's how I thought gsk8 would do it. And I felt like I played the early game pretty much perfectly. So I was either ahead or tied from my perspective. So I'm like, well, I don't want to fall behind here and pick ice for no reason. So that was kind of the logic as to why I did them in that order.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. For me, it's kind of the same. Like, I figured you'd do spirit, like that was no-brainer. And so after that, I did ice before forest, even though I think doing forest then ice is faster. But I was like, yeah, I have more check faster in Ice Cavern, and I did not feel ahead. I was like, I'm either behind or maybe tied, and I figured I'd want to do the most check right away. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe if I do ice and it's overboot there and you do forest, then I can catch up or something.
We might be tied because I definitely do all of forest and then I go child actually to go get Sun Song before I do Ice Cavern. Like ice is literally the last thing I do in the seat. So if the
Oh,
others
yeah,
do
yeah.
ice.
AD over ice. Can't blame you.
Yeah.
I skipped Wasteland as also
Oh, there was a big fest in Wasteland.
already.
Yeah. It was a wallet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is your logical wallet, I think, right? We don't know where the tunic is, but... Because the other wallet's in
yes.
right side GTG?
Yes.
I think so? I don't know.
Yeah, right side GTG. There's a wallet. Yeah.
Alrighty, but yeah, other than that, it was just kind of... It felt very normal. The whole experience. Like, this felt like the Season 6 experience in a nutshell. Potential AD the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, casino for your last item. It's always Shadow at the end. Like...
Yeah, I agree. It was a traditional seed.
It's just the perfect S6 seed in a nutshell. Everything.
Great. I guess I will jump in then. GG's to both you guys. I always pronounce it gsk8, so forgive me.
It's fine.
That's a good question. Is it GSK or is it Gskate? Because I've always just said Gskate, but
Well, actually, there is no real good answer because gskate is short for group skate, and so you can say gsk8 or gskate. It doesn't matter to me.
that's good to know. Yeah, because I was wondering if there was a preference.
But yes, GG's and GG Sponge for winning. But Gskate not going to be in the end. We're definitely going to see more for OMS for those that are aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Break
A lot
the
of
top
OMS.
4. Looking forward to.
top 4 is so hard.
I believe you're definitely so close. You can do it.
I know you've been practicing a lot. I've seen streams of very much
Yeah.
based, so
Yeah, I got a good result for task 1, but for task 2, it's not going to be as good as the first one, I don't think.
Well, Danny was saying the longer that we go, the longer the tasks will be and a little bit more intense. I mean, task 3 still is pretty short. Some of the low tads are even shorter than task 1 and 2 from what I've seen.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be shorter.
Yeah, and OMS is the Ocarina of Time Master Series that Danny B is hosting. So it's all on vanilla OOT. It's not rando. Some of the tasks are more puzzle oriented. That's kind of Danny's shtick. But if you're interested in finding new ways to make vanilla more interesting, definitely take a look at Danny B's Discord or his channel. He has a link to the website. There are 10 challenges, 10 or 12. I can't remember which one. Yeah.
I think we're on. Is it 3 right now?
Yeah, we're on 3. But yeah, there are definitely a lot more fun things you can do in Ocarina of Time. So best of luck in OMS Gskate.
Yeah,
Not
thank you
just
very
off
much.
the ladder. And Sponge, congrats, continuing on in the bracket. GG's, super exciting.
Going to play
Hopefully we'll-
Xavi in the next round. Brackets.
Yes, you continue on, continue through the bracket and hopefully to the end. There's still chance, we believe.
It's such a stacked lower bracket. Losers bracket.
Yeah.
So stacked. Anyone who comes through that is going to earn their way to the
I
final,
am-
for sure.
I'm floored that Goomba and Solly have to play Marco.
It's
That's-
crazy, isn't it?
That blows my mind.
But yeah, there is a, I don't know, let's see, bracket. There are a lot of interesting people in the losers bracket this time around. So it is anyone's game. Literally anyone.
It's really
but-
exciting.
It is exciting. It's always exciting for main tournament time. But I'll give a shout out, of course, you guys were thanking our volunteers. Thank you very much for amazing commentary as always, Ginger and Yoshi. And our trackers, Chuckles and Mad Monk Adam. Without this, you guys could not make this restream happen, so we greatly appreciate all of our volunteers. If you're interested in volunteering, We are thankfully out of the craziness of the beginning of the tournament stage, but there are still so many more matches to see. If you're interested in becoming a volunteer, please check out the link or join the Discord. I think there's one more Season 6 match today, but it's not being restreamed, as far as I know. At least here. It's not on our sheet. But tomorrow, actually not tomorrow, because tomorrow is Thursday. On Friday, the next Season 6 bracket, oh my god, I can't speak. Bracket match will be Sea Falcon and Mr. Mario, another losers bracket round. But tomorrow, we bring back RSL quarterfinals, so Signy and Marco back on ZSR.
I do love myself a bit of RSL.
Please stop randomizing so many things, and then I would rejoin the tournament. Just too many.
just a little bit too many.
What if we randomize the rule set you play on as well?
I would join them. I'd be okay with that.
Like
that sounds
standard,
pretty good.
GGJ, RSL, like
Master Quest.
like no logic. Like you don't know what seed you're gonna open until you open it.
If they were all no logic, I'd probably be more inclined to play. Just saying. But yeah, I don't know. Too many things in rando, man. All these new things coming out. Kurok, stop putting out new shit. Can't keep
Random
up.
C buttons. Random C buttons.
Oh no.
That would really screw with me, a C sticker. So yes, add it to the game.
So if you're interested in seeing all the things that come to rando, definitely join the Discord. Provide your feedback. Stop suggesting new shit. There's too many things going on right now. JK, there's a lot of cool things coming on. Thanks to all of our contributors and developers and all these branches that we get to do fun things on. And maybe Season 7 will be on a branch that's not our main branch. Could be on a different one. Who knows? But yeah, a lot of small talk, but let's go raid our French restream channel, Zoro. I don't know if they also want to interview you guys. I'm sorry if we kept you too long from that. We'll give them some love to our French restreamers. Any final thoughts from the crew?
Nah, that's about it from me. I'm gonna head over to the French restream.
Yeah, I guess so.
Race.
Same.
GG's again.
Yeah, GG's everybody. Great race.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Great. GG's
See you over
all.
there.
Yep, so we will go follow them along to Zoro and give love to our French community. Thank you everyone for hanging around this afternoon, evening, or morning, whatever your time zone may be. And we hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.